Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. We're doing today Kesubos Daf Nun Vav 56. This is Iyun with Benzion, where we delve into the analytics of the Daf, a little deeper than what you would expect from a regular share. I'm honored to have my father here. If you missed the Just Daf, he's also part of that share. And he took off his mask for this share. It was a short share. And I really think that you're going to like this year. You're going to tell me you're going to rate it this year on camera from 1 to 10. What do you think about this Kiddush? Today, we learned about a famous concept in Shas about Machlokas in Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, Hamasta Mashakos of the Torah. Basically, somebody, the example, the famous example, Homer Isha Re'ah Mekudeshali towards the bottom of Vavam and Aleph. He says to a woman, I'm going to get married to you. Whatever Kiddushin means, if Kiddushin is a real marriage or Nakia Muta, look up what the Muslims do. But anyway, Kiddushin is some sort of marriage. But he doesn't guarantee his wife what Torah guarantees her. Sherek Susvaona. He says, I'll be Makadish, I'll be Mekudeshes to you, but I'm not providing food, clothing, or sexual relations with you. You know, whatever the Torah requires of him. The Gemara says later in Kesubos, we'll get to that, Samach or something like that. So, technically it's machlok, because Rabbi Meir says you can't do that. Masa mashakos with our tno batel. Your tnai is batel, right? It's invalid. The stipulation made. My father's a lawyer, so when you make stipulations, right? You make tonight. What is it called in legal? The lexicon of legal jargon. What is it called?
Well, both parties stipulate on the record.
Stipulation. Is there like a fancy word for a stipulation? Or,
yeah.
What is it called? Contingency. What is that called? Contingency. Contingency.
Well, if you stipulate on the record, then both sides are agreeing that that fact is not in question.
Right. So that's what we're dealing with over here. Stipulations. Rameir says you can't do that. You can't be masamash because the Torah requires it. You can't do that. So therefore, what happens? Are you mikudesh or not? So Rameir says yes, you're mikudesh. That's not. His words are meaningless, and therefore they're mikudesh. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Yes, in most things in the Torah, you can't be masamash because of the Torah. You can't say a tanai against what the Torah wants you to do. You can't make a tanai. I'm going to mekadesh you on condition that you eat pig, right? You eat pig. The Torah says you can't eat pig, so you can't do that. However, b'davar shel mamon, for some reason, when it comes to monetary things, monetary obligations, Rabbi Yehuda says it is niskayim, and therefore the kedushin is based on the fact, right, that she does not entitled to share tzuzah va'ona, and it takes effect, and right, they're mikudeshes with that tanai, and he's not mechuyev to give share tzuzah va'ona. Now Rashi says over here, share tzuzah va'ona are three different guarantees. The Torah guarantees a woman in her marriage. He says Rabbi Yehuda was only talking about two of them, share and ksus. Share is food, like the Gemara says, and ksus is clothing. Those are things you have to pay money for. Ona, conjugal relations, or to be together with your wife, that's something you can't attach a price to it. Problem I have with this is that you can attach a price to it. I mean, in most places not legal. Prostitution is something which is people pay money for. We discussed previously that Ona is not necessarily, is the bare minimum that the husband has to give to his wife. He has to give other things to his wife in the bedroom. And Ona is the bare minimum he has to give to his wife. Basically it's prostitution, and that has a price tag on it. So I would say there are other Rishonim that say Ona is considered davar shel mamon. Rabbi Yehuda does mean that. But I want to explain this machlokas over here. Why is it that Rabbi Yehuda holds davar shel mamon? Only by davar shel mamon to know kayim. So when you make a stipulation, you have any contractual obligation to someone, you make a stipulation in that. The Rush famously says, I learned this in Yonasan Sachs's share. Remember, I was in Yonasan Sachs. He's the dean of Landers now, so he's able to make it into the pages of Mishpacha magazine. Because he was still connected to YU. He would
formerly at Rabbi Yitzchak.
Well, they don't tell you that. They don't write that in parentheses when they put the advertisements for Touro College. Mishpacha magazine will run advertisements for Touro College, but not for Yeshiva University. So that's why he switched over, because he wanted to help out Touro College. But anyway, so he told us this Rush that the concept of a Tanai is milsach risi. The Tanai, when I make a stipulation, it's not like I say, we're getting married on this condition. The condition and the contract are viewed independently, and therefore, since they're viewed independently, so therefore, even though you apply different rules to the stipulation and to the actual contract, what he says. So Rameir would hold So the simple explanation of Rabbi Yehuda is that Davar Shel Mamon, there's a difference between Ben Adam L'Makom and Ben Adam L'Chavero, right? Davar Shel Mamon, the reason it works over there, it's not his Kayim, is because it's an obligation that he has to her, Davar Shel Mamon, right? Financial obligation to her. She's mochel. When she accepts those terms, it's like she's mochel. Like we learned in the Mishnah that according to Rabbi Yehuda, being mochel, she waives her certain rights. If I have an agreement between me and you, so you have the right to waive that. But when it comes to eating pig or something like that, I can't waive that. The Torah says I can't do it. So I can't negotiate with Hashem and say that. So that's what Rabbi Yehuda says, Davar Shel Mamon Tanal Kaim. I want to suggest a different explanation over here, that Davar Shel Mamon Tanal Kaim is not because of that. It's because Rabbi Meir and Yehuda argue on a fundamental aspect of Tanoim, of stipulations, that the reason Davar Shel Mamon Tanal Kaim, and according to Rabbi Meir, it would be batel still, is because when I make a Tanai against the Torah, it doesn't make a difference between Adam al-Makom or between Adam l'Shamayim and between Adam l'Chavero, between Hashem or between another person. When I say something against the Torah, my words are insignificant, right? Because the Torah already told you what you should be thinking about this thing. It tells you pig is forbidden. It tells you when you get married, you're supposed to provide your wife with these bare things, the bare minimum things. So the Torah considers your word insignificant. Like completely insignificant? No, because there's tons of people in the world that don't follow the Torah. Even a lot of Jews don't follow the Torah 100%, or what we think is the proper explanation of the Torah. Not everyone follows the Torah. So the Torah is the truth, but your words are insignificant over here. So Reb Meir holds that Tana is not a milsa achrisi, right? It's the contingency, the stipulation, has the same effect as the actual terms of the agreement, the actual contract that you're doing, the marriage over here. So therefore, because my words are insignificant and the stipulation has the same effect as the actual contract, it renders the contract invalid. Yehuda holds no milsa achrisa. We did possibly like Rabbi Yehuda. Tonight is something else over here. So when it comes to Isser v'heter, I say I'm mekadosh you, I'm not that you eat pig, something like that. So Kiddushin itself, the establishment of Kiddushin, is a type of Isser v'heter. It's a type of status that you're now married. The Torah recognizes you're married, right? Once you're married, you can't establish Yisurim. You're forbidden to be with another. A woman's forbidden to be with another man. She's considered married to that man. You need a gerushin to allow her to marry somebody else. So it creates Isser v'heter. So when it comes to Isser v'heter, so therefore, milsa achrisa, even though the Tanai is something else, but it has the same status as the actual contract itself. The contract is Isser v'heter, and the stipulation is Isser v'heter. So my words are insignificant over there. So therefore, it's on the same level, so it invalidates the actual terms of the agreement. However, when the stipulation is something else, Davar Shel Mamon, it's something that is unrelated. Kiddushin creates Isur Arayos. Davar Shel Mamon is financial obligation, something completely different over there. So even though my words are insignificant, right? They're insignificant because there's something that's not what the Torah says. It doesn't matter. Tanai milsa achrisi, Tanai is something else. It doesn't have the same koach, the same power as the actual terms of the agreement itself. So therefore, even though it's insignificant, my words, it's still in this kaim because it's something else. It's milsa achrisi. It's something else. I can see it by the fact my father fell asleep. Either he fell asleep because he's jet lagged, he just arrived, or because he doesn't really like what I said,
No.
or wasn't interested in what I said.
It's the first.
Or some comment. So what would you give that? Between 1 and 10,
I think it's very nice. It's a nice kiddush.
Be honest, because you're gonna have to give grades on other conditions. You want to, if it's something really
Well,
better
I'll
than the
be
next
able
one.
I'll be able to judge that based upon whether Malin Bakodesh
No, I'm saying it could be better the next year. It could be worse.
Could be.
So give it a score. I'm not ashamed. I say it like it is. Tell me, were you interested or not, or was it a little too deep for you?
I was a little too tired to fully appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna give my 5. I think my father would probably give that a 5. That's my. I think he'd give it a 5. It was average. I think it's a little deep and a little confusing, but I'll try to simplify the next one. Anyway, thank you, Dad, for joining me.
Okay, glad to be here. Look forward.
We'll see you in the coming days.
Amen.
Be well. Bye.